Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news tonight on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold talks with US President Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. one-on-one and delegation-level meetings to focus on wide range of bilateral issues. Prime Minister Narendra Modi meets chief executives of major US companies, highlights surgical strikes against Pakistan and achievements of 3 years of his government in his address to the Indian community. Eid ul-Fitr celebrated across the country. President Pranab Mukherjee, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari and Prime Minister Narendra Modi wish the people on the occasion. An HRD ministry appoints 9-member committee to work on new education policy. Space scientist Krishnaswamy Kasturirangan to head the expert panel chosen from wide-ranging backgrounds. Well, US Defense Secretary James Mattis called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Washington, D.C. hours before the latter's meeting with President Donald Trump. The meeting comes amid reports that America will sell 22 Guardian drones to India to bolster its surveillance and intelligence gathering capabilities. Senior Indian officials, including National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, were also present at the meeting. While the deal on the 22 Guardian has not been formally announced, it is considered to be a game changer for Indo-US relations as it will operationalize the status of major defense partner. In the meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump, the two are to discuss bilateral ties, strategic issues including the civil nuclear deal, bilateral trade, and India's concerns over Pakistan-based terror outfits are expected to be discussed between the two leaders. Prime Minister Modi and US President Donald Trump will also attend a working dinner hosted by the White House. Modi is the first foreign leader invited for a dinner at the White House after President Trump assumed office. This is Narendra Modi's fifth trip to the United States since 2014 and his first meeting with Donald Trump, who took over as US President in January. Well, joining me for a chat right now is our correspondent Akhilesh Suman. Well, Akhilesh, the Prime Minister there meeting James Mattis. Clearly, the focus seems to be on defense at the moment as well, and it looks like a few defense deals could be signed as well today.
Naturally, Frank, see, there has been long talks with American dispensation for a long time to cooperate on defense equipment issue. But the problem was only from the American side. And you know that America has so many rules and laws and so many layers of decision-making process, and then it has to be passed by some committee and then Senate passes. So there are so many complicated things are there in American system. But I think Donald Trump wants business. And if you remember when he went to Saudi Arabia, an announcement was made about purchase of aircraft. So wherever Trump is talking to, whoever Trump is he is trying to find out whether there is a business opportunity or not. And you know that India has been a very good destination for business opportunity, but it was just Americans' problems that it could not be. So when Defense Secretary of America meets Prime Minister, it gives a positive signal because India also needs modern defense equipments. And you know that there has been always a tension between our neighbors. So it is very necessary for India to have the equipment so that you can parallel them in capacity. So I think that there has been some movement on the issue of defense purchase, and it is going to be fructified in this meeting when Prime Minister is talking to American President. After that, there will be delegation level talk, and then there is a press conference in which some announcements are expected to be made, Frank.
Indeed. You know, and as far as another issue that could likely be high on the agenda is the issue of terrorism and terrorism emanating out of Pakistan as well, because America has sent several signals about how Pakistan needs to fall in line.
Yeah, in this thing also, American President Donald Trump is very clear, and he has been giving signals off and on that he is not liking terrorism, because see, in the past there has been accusation against America itself that it harbors some sort of good Taliban, bad Taliban, things like that has been in the air for a long time. But Donald Trump is giving signal that he doesn't like any sort of support to terrorists, whoever and wherever it is. So in that connection also he is wanting to cooperate with the Russians in the past. So in this area also he is thinking that if sort of cooperation on the issue of terrorism comes up, it will be good for American interest, because India is the largest market after China, and if he touches this issue, you know that Indian people are very sensitive about terrorism coming out of Pakistan, and if Donald Trump addresses this issue, it will be good that America will get some sort of positive signal among the people, and it's whole the culture of communication between India and America will change. So it is going to be addressed in some way or other, but it depends that how much pressure he can put on Pakistan, because America has been one of the donors to Pakistan in various names, on the name of security, in the name of fighting against terrorism. So Donald Trump has given, and in this budget some sort of grants have been changed, modified, and it has been reduced. So if America can put pressure against Pakistan to curb on the donations, curb on the grants, and keep a full check that whether the grants that are being given, it is being utilized in the same work or not. So these are the pressures that can America do at this moment. And I think that
we'll have to
India
leave it at that. Akhilesh Suman, thank you so much for joining us there with those details and putting things into perspective for us. Moving on now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met chief executives of major US companies on Sunday in a bid to attract investments to India. He also addressed the Indian community in Washington, D.C., where he spoke about the 3 years of his government. He also spoke about India's successful surgical strikes and said that country showed that it can defend itself when needed.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday made a pitch to attract investments in India as he met chief executive officers of leading American companies on the first day of his 2-day visit to the United States. Addressing CEO roundtable with US business leaders in Washington, Modi said that growth of India presented a great opportunity to US companies to contribute to the partnership between the two countries. Prime Minister also said that the implementation of the landmark initiative of the Goods and Services Tax could be a subject of studies in US business schools. The Prime Minister interacted with 21 business leaders, including Apple CEO Tim Cook, Walmart CEO Doug McMillon, and Google CEO Sundar Pichai, all whom reaffirmed their commitment to growing with India.
It was very good. I think it was a discussion across many industries, and I think the Prime Minister was looking for insights into how India can attract more foreign investment, and I think there were many good ideas discussed. But I think everyone is excited to invest more in India, and I'm excited at what we all can do together.
I think it was very good. We reiterated our commitment to India, and we talked about the various things that we do in terms of global sourcing, our Global Technology Center, and the work that we do in the space of farmers as well as women's economic empowerment. So we had a very fruitful discussion.
Later in the day, Prime Minister addressed the Indian diaspora in Virginia, where he spoke about the 3 years of his government and the growth of the foreign ministry through social media and technology. Modi said no country questioned India's action as it succeeded in conveying to the world about the need to uproot the menace of terrorism. He also said that surgical strike demonstrated that India, which normally follows restraint, can also defend its sovereignty and ensure its security.
लेकिन जब हिंदुस्तान सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक करता है, तब दुनिया को ताकत का अनुभव होता है कि भारत संयम रखता है, लेकिन जरूरत पड़े तो भारत अपने सामर्थ्य का परिचय भी देता है। हमारी सॉवरेनिटी के लिए, हमारी सुरक्षा के लिए, हमारे जन सामान्य की सुख शांति और प्रगति के लिए कठोर से कठोर कदम उठाने का सामर्थ्य रखते हैं और जब भी जरूरत पड़ी लेते रहे हैं और दुनिया हमें कभी भी रोक नहीं सकती है.
Prime Minister also lauded External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj for using social media in reaching out to the people to help them. He also appealed to the diaspora to keep the bridge with India and ensure a strong bond for the future. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Israel has announced Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the country next week, which is the first ever by any Indian Prime Minister. This was announced by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at a weekly cabinet meeting on Sunday. He said that this would be a historic visit, adding that in the 70 years of his country's existence, no Indian Prime Minister has ever visited. He further added that this is a very significant step in strengthening relations between the two countries. Netanyahu added that cabinet will also approve decisions regarding ties with India, including increasing exports, deepening cooperation in the fields of water and agriculture, establishing a joint fund for research and innovation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit is aimed at commemorating 25 years of establishment of diplomatic ties between India and Israel. Modi is scheduled to land in Israel on July 4th on a 3-day visit. Earlier in November last year, Israeli President Reuven Rivlin came to India on a week-long state visit, the first by an Israeli president in nearly 20 years. President Pranab Mukherjee also visited Israel in October 2000, symbolizing the growing partnership between the two nations. Well, the HRD ministry on Monday appointed a new 9-member panel to work on a new education policy. Space scientist Krishnaswamy Kasturi Rangan will head the expert panel chosen from wide-ranging backgrounds. The panel includes former IAS officer K.J. Alphonse, who played a key role in helping Kerala's Kottayam and Ernakulam districts achieve 100% literacy. Vice Chancellor of the Baba Saheb Ambedkar University of Social Sciences, Ram Shankar Kuril, Dr. M.K. Sridhar, Dr. T.V. Kattimani, Dr. Mazhar Asif, Krishna Kumar Tripathi, Manjul Bhargava and Vasudha Kamath are also part of the 9-member panel. The ministry hopes that the diversity will help the committee with a better understanding of various issues that have to be kept in mind for the formulation of such a key policy document. Well, the textile industry will observe a 72-hour strike starting from June 27th to 29th in protest against the GST Council's decision to levy a 5% goods and services tax on the sector. The traders are demanding the withdrawal of taxes on textiles.
Textile traders in Delhi's Chandni Chowk have called for a strike starting Tuesday to protest against the implementation of GST on textiles. They say that the announcement of 5% GST tax by the government has badly hit business.
वो जो फॉर्मेलिटी सबसे बड़ी वो तो उन्होंने लिख के दे रखा है कि ये जमा कराना पड़ेगा, ये करना पड़ेगा. ये हम लोग जो है पुराने आदमी हैं, इसमें मोबाइल नंबर फीड नहीं कर पाते हैं, तो कंप्यूटर या मोबाइल कहाँ से चलाएं. मैं 25,000 महीना कमाता हूँ, वो 30,000 का एक आदमी रखूँगा यहाँ पर सर्कुलेट करने के लिए, मैं कहाँ से अफोर्ड करूँगा उसको.
Other traders like Gurdeep believe that the entire textile business will be ruined if GST is not withdrawn.
It's been only 15 days जब ये रूल पास हुआ है और हमारे पास 15 days का टाइम काफ़ी नहीं है, क्योंकि more than 25 करोड़ पीपल जो हैं वो इस ट्रेड के अंदर जुड़े हुए हैं. इतने सारे लोगों को इतना सारा काम करने के लिए इतना कम टाइम नहीं है, काफ़ी नहीं है.
The textile traders are demanding that either the government withdraw the 5% tax levied on textiles or exempt them from the law for a few more months. Also, under the new GST rule, e-bill will be required instead of a paper bill on transporting goods worth over 50,000 rupees. The Delhi Hindustani Mercantile Association, which represents the traders of Chandni Chowk, says the implementation of GST can stall the businesses of small traders.
ये व्यापारियों के हाथ से निकल के बड़ी कॉरपोरेट कंपनियों के पास चला जाएगा. मुझे लगता है गवर्नमेंट की इच्छा भी यही है कि हम निकल जाएं इसमें से.
Till date, around 1 million small and medium-sized units were paying no duty so far, but all that will end with the government imposing 5% tax on cotton, textiles, yarn and fabric. 18% tax have been levied on synthetic or man-made fibers and synthetic threads. Anu Diwan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, amid the ongoing indefinite shutdown in Darjeeling, the Muslim community observed a low-key Eid after they were given a 12-hour relaxation on the occasion. People offered prayers at local mosques and showed solidarity to the cause of Gorkha land by leaving their vehicles and travelling by foot. The GJM on Sunday maintained that the relaxation in plying of vehicles will only be for the Muslim community and not for the general public. Darjeeling remained tense but incident-free on Sunday. Security forces patrolled the streets as the situation in the hills where shops and markets other than medicine outlets remained shut and internet services suspended. Meanwhile, in Siliguri, an outfit Amra Bengali organized a rally in protest against the separatist movement of the GJM. Well, China on Monday said it was in touch with India over continuing the Kailas Mansarovar Yatra through the Nathula Pass in Sikkim. The statement came days after it refused entry to Indian pilgrims, citing damage to roads in Tibet due to landslides and rains. The matter was taken up by the External Affairs Ministry with China. The pilgrims were stopped by Chinese officials at the Sino-India border. They were scheduled to cross over to the Chinese side on June 19th but failed to do so due to inclement weather. On June 23rd, China denied entry to them due to damage to roads. 2 batches of pilgrims returned to Delhi yesterday. Well, let's now take a look at some more developments from across the country in Nationwide. An FIR was filed against Indrani Mukherjee for rioting and criminal conspiracy inside Baikula jail in Mumbai. Indrani is an accused in the murder of her daughter Sheena Bora. A riot broke out in the jail after a 31-year-old convict, Manjula Shetye, was found murdered inside the jail on Friday. The police also filed an FIR against 6 women prison staffers, including a jailer. Chennai is witnessing the worst water crisis in 140 years, with all the 4 main reservoirs around the city drying up. The city needs 830 million litres of water a day, but supply has halved over the last few days. In many areas, piped water is being supplied only once in 3 days. The authorities have deployed 300 water tankers to address the situation. Five people from Andhra Pradesh were arrested for pouring a liquid on a gold-covered base of the newly installed temple mast at Sabrimala. The incident came to light a few hours after the mast installation ceremony, when officials found that the gold coating of the mast had suddenly changed colour. The detained persons reportedly said it was part of a local custom to pour mercury along with the other offerings. The company operating the Gulmarg cable car in Jammu and Kashmir on Monday blamed act of God for the accident that killed 7 people on Sunday. A man, his wife and their 2 children were killed in an accident that also left 3 local residents dead. 150 people who were in another cable car had a narrow escape. It's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
The story we thought we knew. The story of magnificence. The story of bloody battles. Of those who ruled and those who left their footprints. The story charting the course of our past. Talking history on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif visited the victims of a massive blaze on Monday morning. The Pakistani government announced 2 million rupees each for those deceased and 1 million each for the injured as compensation. At least 160 people were charred to death and 117 others injured when an oil tanker overturned as crowds rushed to collect the fuel that spilled over on the highway. The tanker caught fire, apparently sparked by a passerby lighting a cigarette.
Hundreds killed and scores injured in oil tanker inferno in Pakistan's Bahawalpur city on Sunday. Reports say The tanker filled with oil overturned and spilled while trying to navigate a turn. A huge crowd gathered to collect the oil from the spillage. Traffic police tried in vain to keep the crowds away from the tanker as local people, including women and children, continued collecting fuel. A huge fire then erupted, engulfing all the people standing around the vehicle.
सामने एक धमाके की आवाज़ आई है, तो वहाँ पहुँचे और आग लगी हुई थी। इंसान अब ये टैंकर को और ये मोटरसाइकिल चल रहे थे आदमी, इंसानों की यहाँ डेड बॉडियाँ थी तकरीबन 126-27।
फटने के बाद पेट्रोल जैसे निकला है, लोगों को जैसे नजर पड़ी हैं, उन्होंने शोर मचाना शुरू कर दिया है, पेट्रोल पेट्रोल पेट्रोल। और काफ़ी सारे बंदे जो थे गैलों के अंदर, जगहों के अंदर, और काफ़ी सारे बोटल्स थे उनके पास, तो उन्होंने उसके अंदर पेट्रोल भर भर के साइड पर रखते गए। तो एक पेट्रोलिंग पुलिस वाले जो थे भाई, उनकी अपनी गाड़ी जिस टाइम जल चुकी है, वो और मैं, हम दोनों थे, हम लोगों ने वास्ते किए हैं, हाथ जोड़े, मिलते किए, भाई यहाँ ब्लास्ट हो जाएगा, मेहरबानी करें, लेकिन उन्होंने मेरी बात नहीं मानी, जिसके बाद ब्लास्ट हुआ है।
Several vehicles were damaged in the fire, including 6 cars and 12 motorcycles. Fire and rescue teams immediately reached the accident site and doused the flames. Bodies of many were charred beyond recognition. Army helicopters were dispatched to ferry casualties to hospitals. The nearby Ahmedpur Sharkia Health Centre and Bahawal Victoria Hospital have no burn units. As a result, some casualties were taken to distant hospitals. The death toll is expected to rise as many of the injured are reported to be in a critical condition.
पाकिस्तान एविएशन के हेलीकॉप्टर्स आ चुके हैं, जो क्रिटिकल जितने भी इंजर्ड लोग हैं उनको बहावलपुर से मुल्तान और आगे खारिया बर्न सेंटर में मुंतकिल किया जा रहा है।
The tanker had been transporting 25,000 litres of fuel from Karachi to Lahore. Traffic on the national highway route has been suspended. Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is cutting short a visit to London in response to the incident. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The US Supreme Court on Monday partially reinstated President Donald Trump's controversial travel ban before examining the case. The ruling stated that citizens from 6 Muslim-majority countries without any connection to the United States will now be barred from travelling. The court also agreed to hear the case in October. Earlier, the travel ban was put on hold by lower court rulings. The decision is a victory for Trump, who has insisted the ban is necessary for national security. Trump said last week that the ban will take effect 72 hours after being cleared by courts. The ban will apply to citizens of Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria and Yemen. Well, here's a roundup of the other news from across the globe in Global Buzz. Mongolians are voting to choose their next president amid worries about corruption and the state of the resource-dominated economy. There are 3 candidates in the fray, including ruling Mongolian People's Party candidate Yegombo Ekbold, former martial arts star and resource nationalist Kaltma Batulga of the opposition Democratic Party. However, Senku Ganbatar of the breakaway Mongolian People's Revolutionary Party could win enough votes to force a second round in 2 weeks. After a month-long conflict between Islamic rebels and civilians in Marawi city of Philippines, Vice President Leni Robredo met civilians expressing hope for a complete end to the unrest. The urban siege is being attributed to the Islamic State. President Rodrigo Duterte, however, wasn't seen around, strengthening rumors about his poor health. A tourist boat carrying around 170 passengers sank in Colombia's Penol Guatape reservoir on Sunday, killing 9 people. 31 people are said to be missing. The cause of the accident isn't known yet. Drugs worth $800 million were burnt in Myanmar and Thailand to mark International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. 12 tons of drugs were incinerated as the Public Health Ministry buckled up to put 220,000 addicts into rehabilitation by the end of October this year. Archaeologists in Cyprus have unearthed what is being called one of the last ancient mosaic floors arts in the world. The discovery was made in Akaki when a farmer accidentally stumbled upon the 26-meter-long mosaic floor. It is said to be 2,000 years old and depicts scenes of chariot races. Shifting focus to some sports news now, as the BCCI's Cricket Advisory Committee looks for a new coach for the Indian cricket team, CAC member Sourav Ganguly has said the first criteria for the next coach is one who can win cricket matches. The search for the next coach has been widened by the BCCI, with the board extending the deadline to apply for the role of India's head coach till July 9, 2017. Virender Sehwag, Tom Moody, Dodda Ganesh, Lalchand Rajput, Richard Pybus have already applied for the post. Anil Kumble, who quit after the ICC Champions Trophy following reports of a spat with captain Virat Kohli, had refused to continue for the West Indies series. The team is currently in the West Indies and has already registered their first win. MS Dhoni and Yuvraj Singh are said to be shouldering the responsibility of dealing with the young cricketers, with skipper Virat Kohli also seeing his workload increase. Meanwhile, former Sri Lankan cricketer Mahela Jayawardene reacted to reports that he was a contender for the India coaching job. He tweeted and said that while he was flattered, he was not looking at full-time positions right now. He also said that he was completely focused on his current projects. Let's now take a look at some developments from the world of sports in SportsBeat. North Korea's IOC delegate showed a reluctance on co-hosting next Olympics, citing political tensions and lack of time. The comment came after South Korean President Moon suggested that both the Koreas pool their athletes to form a joint team for the 2018 Winter Games hosted by the South. After his one-sided win against Alexander Zverev to clinch his whole title, Swiss great Roger Federer asserted that he's feeling fresh ahead of his assault for an 8th Wimbledon crown in July. Federer will head into Wimbledon that starts on the 3rd of July as favourite to win an outright record 8th title and surpass the 7 he currently shares with Pete Sampras. Lewis Hamilton branded world champion leader Sebastian Vettel as a disgrace after he deliberately dove into him at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Hamilton demanded that if they are to clash, they should do so like men outside the car. Vettel was given a 10-second stop-and-go penalty for driving his Ferrari into the back of Hamilton's Mercedes. And finally, the teaser of Rajya Sabha television's first feature film, Rag Desh, has been released. The movie is based on the Azad Hind Fauj trials. Gurdeep Singh Sappal, CEO of Rajya Sabha Television, is the producer of the film that's directed by National Award winner Digmanshu Dhulia. Kunal Kapoor essays the role of Major Shahnawaz Khan, while Amit Saad and Mohit Marwa play the characters of Colonel Gurbaksh Singh Dhillon and Colonel Prem Sehgal. Rana Mazumdar Siddharth Pandit and Revant Shergill scored the music for the film, while Rishi Punjabi is the cinematographer. The film is scheduled for release on July 28th in over 800 cinema halls across the country.
आजादी की जंग लड़ने वाले मेरे दोस्तों, आजादी चाहिए तो उसकी कीमत खून देके चुकानी होगी। तुम मुझे खून दो, मैं तुम्हें आजादी दूंगा।
आईएनए की बागी फौजियों पर अंग्रेज देशद्रोह का मुकदमा चलाएंगे।
उन तीनों के बचने के चांसेस कम हैं।
This trial and its judgment will be remembered throughout history.
That's it on this newscast. Good night.